Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World of Marketing, where I talk with industry leaders about marketing, mindset, and business growth. This episode is brought to you by my own company, Foster Web Marketing. Foster Web Marketing is dedicated to providing cutting-edge, highly customizable websites, marketing, video, and strategic solutions specifically designed for law firms, medical practices, and other professional service businesses. Our award-winning web technology and marketing systems set us apart from everyone else. Please visit our website at fosterwebmarketing.com if you want to know more about us. But today is about my new friend, Alex Makarski. Alex is an engineer turned marketer, founder of clickmakers.io and co-founder of MeasureBit.com. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are changing the way we market and sell products, and Alex brings unique insights into how to harness its power. He's been working with big data since before there was a name for it. Alex's team has managed millions of dollars in monthly ad spend for organizations ranging B2B, B2C, lead generation, and from digital products to e-commerce. Alex, welcome to the World of Marketing. It is so great to meet you, and I'm so excited to talk about this. It is fascinating stuff. Welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Glad to be here.
So, okay, first of all, tell me, you've been doing this a while. Tell me how you got into it.
Well, I got my engineering degree in back then it was still Soviet Union in Russia, and I thought I was going to become a scientist and work in the lab, but I got married early.
Engineering degree in Russia.
I did, yes.
Wow.
And I had my first successful career in the software space in the world of ERP. Like back then, it was a big thing, automating enterprises. And we worked with some really big clients like McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, Siemens, Colgate. Those were my projects. Then right before, in '99, I moved to Canada, and I made a similar career at a similar company in Canada. We built data warehouses for large companies, banks, restaurant, food service companies with hundreds of locations across the nation. And we would build data warehouses where we would collect the data, assemble it in the central data warehouse, and then would have analysts go in and slice and dice these things and mine for insights. And it's just so similar to the work we do now with marketing data. Now we're talking about big data and artificial intelligence, but it's so much, it rhymes so much with the kind of work that I used to do with this company in Toronto called Think Ventures.
Right.
What years ago? It's just very interesting how things come full circle and in many ways repeat themselves.
So you're in Toronto now.
I'm currently in Toronto, although I split my time between Mexico and Toronto currently. And
yeah, that's what you said when we were first introducing ourselves. You've just been in Mexico for. So what's going on in Mexico?
It's a nice country with very nice, hardworking people and very nice weather, unlike Toronto in the middle of winter.
That's for sure. So that's pretty cool. You split your time between Toronto and Mexico. All right. So tell me a little bit about your companies.
So the two companies that I represent, ClickMakers is a Google Ads agency. We've been a premier Google partner for the last 2 years, which puts us in the top 3% of US agencies, according to some yardstick that Google has. I have no idea how they measure it,
right,
but they anointed us, one of those top agencies. And some of our clients spend over $1 million a month on ads. We have some big-ish clients and a bunch of smaller ones as well. And about a year and a half ago, closer to 2 years now, we spun off MeasureBit as a separate entity. And this is the company that focuses on data integrations, on integrating analytics with proper data warehouse solutions like BigQuery and Snowflake, and enables the analysis of your enterprise data, especially as it relates to digital advertising, attribution, all this marketing data. Like, this is becoming a very hot and important topic right now. So we have Google Universal Analytics being sunset in just a few months and being replaced by Google Analytics 4, which is a bit of a misnomer. It's called Google Analytics, but it's a very different product with very different DNA, very different data model. So there's going to be a significant learning curve for a lot of clients of yours, a lot of clients of mine. Cookies, the way we've been able to track the performance of our ads for the last 15 years in digital marketing, this technology is being challenged and is being retired. I don't know how soon, but it's already in the process of becoming less and less efficient. iOS 14.5 got rolled out not very long ago, and there's been new versions of iOS since, and they increase the level of privacy and make conversion tracking attribution significantly more challenging and less of an exact science. But because of that, the need in the companies to be able to analyze this data and understand this data and enable this data to the decision makers and also to the algorithm, which is something I would like to get into today a little bit.
Yeah.
The need is as great as ever and is only going to increase. So what I would like to maybe, if we were to go in some specific direction, like we were chatting before the call and you mentioned that you're really interested in exploring this aspect of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and how it's changing what we do. As digital media buyers, PPC people, advertisers, digital advertisers, we've been working with some version of machine learning, some version of AI. I think AI is still a bit of a misnomer. It's machine learning. That's what it is. We've been working with these types of technologies for close to 10 years now. Ever since Google released smart bidding, we've been working with some version of it. In the early versions, it just was a simple automation, but the impact of that is pretty significant and deserves exploring a little bit on this podcast. So I want your listeners to understand what happened, like when this kind of technology got released. As media buyers in early days, like we used to do a lot of manual work with spreadsheets, and you know, we would analyze campaigns, we would break them out into like smaller buckets. We would target tiny slices of population, little audiences, and individual keywords. And we would break it out into manageable units, tiny little units, and use complex spreadsheets to manage all these bids. And, you know, I think this keyword is worth this much to me, and this audience is worth that much to me. If it happens to be on this device versus that device, and it's different, you know, bid adjustments and that kind of stuff. All this minutia has been taken away from us. We're no longer responsible for these decisions anymore. Instead, this job has been given to machine learning, to the algorithm, which means that this decision is made inside an auction. So every ad impression on your computer or on your phone is a real-time auction. As the page is loading, so the websites that you build for the clients, right? If there's a site that happens to run an ad, but let's say any website that runs ads, something like a news site like Forbes or MSN, as the page is loading, there's a bunch of ads that, there's a bunch of places where ads are supposed to show. And while the page is loading, the algorithm is running behind the scenes, is running in those milliseconds as the page is loading. Invisible to us, there's an auction going on. So the algorithm is deciding which advertisers get to participate in the auction, which ones will be let into the room where the auction happens. And then the bidding happens. And someone's going to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm willing to pay $3 for this impression. Someone's going, no, I'm willing to pay $3.25. And that job happens inside the auction and is done by the machine. So my algorithm is bidding against your algorithm. So my bot against your bot in the auction room, duking it out, trying to win this auction, trying to win this impression. So it happens in milliseconds, and it's based so this decision about how much to bid is made by the machine. We're not there as media buyers in that moment, those milliseconds. We're not around to control the machine and these decisions. So we hope that we've trained the algorithm well enough that it will be able to make the right decision inside this auction based on thousands of signals that this algorithm has access to. So we as human media buyers, we don't have access to those signals at all, because in the auction, it makes a huge difference. It could be the same person, same Alex Makarski, sitting in front of my computer at home with my wallet out and my credit card ready to be swiped. That auction represents a much higher value than the same Alex Makarski standing at the in line at the 7-Eleven trying to pay for my gas and just killing, a minute while the previous person is paying. And I'm just browsing something on my phone and I'm seeing an ad for the same offer. Same person, same offer, different context, different value, right? Very different auction. So our job as media buyers nowadays is to become part data scientists. Like, we need to be able to feed these results back to the machine, create this virtuous feedback loop to train the algorithm on good data. And part psychologists to understand the value each of these situations might represent to us. And then, again, train the algorithm using our understanding of the market, our understanding of the customer, and of the journey of the situations when they might come across our ad, and also building these data feedback loops to train the algorithm. So these feedback loops, they act like a dog treat. Like when you have a dog in the house and you need to treat this, we need to teach this dog like a simple trick. And maybe not a trick, like maybe you just want to teach this puppy to ask to, when he needs to go and do number two. We wanted to do this number two outside, not on the carpet in your living room. Right. But what we do, what a lot of agencies do, and a lot of advertisers do, they give this puppy a treat, so to speak, whenever he craps. Doesn't matter where. Hey, we have a lead. Here's a reward. Well, what if this lead is, really, really low quality, unqualified, real person? And what if this lead is a bot, not even a real person? What if it's spam? So if you give treats at the wrong time and reward the wrong actions, you mistrain the puppy, right? It's outside. It could be cold. It could be hot. It could be rainy. It's nasty weather. It's you have to ask for someone to open the door. And the carpet is right here. Like that's easy. That's an easy way to accomplish the goal, right? And if you get rewarded for it. So we need to, very often when we take over other people's accounts or other agencies' accounts, we have to identify whether the algorithm has been mistrained and been rewarded for the wrong actions, and undo all these weeks of wrong training and retrain it the right way. So that's what happens. In machine learning, the scientific term for it is reinforcement learning. That's the actual official term for it. But the best way to describe it, if you just go on YouTube and type in reinforcement learning, you will see, scientists training chickens and like all kinds of animals. So basically, nowadays, our job as media buyers is to treat the algorithm like it was a feral animal, to make it do the tricks that we want it to do, and then let it do its job.
Well, that is fascinating. And, what you just said, you totally have this experience, from the beginning of machine learning. And, you've got a lot. Look, there's a lot of charlatans out there that pretend to know how to do this pay-per-click game and pretend to know how to do your, ad spend and spend people's money, especially in a lawyer market, which is where we're at. So what kind of advice can you give to law firms that are being persuaded to spend money on pay-per-click and ad spends?
Well, understand the nature of the beast. First of all, that a lot of things are automated and outside of our hands as media buyers, that a good media buyer will take the time to train the algorithm, right? That's the main thing. It's very hard to find quick wins. And like if there's something inherently wrong inside the account, like the account structure is wrong, maybe there's a low-hanging fruit and you can fix it quickly. But if you look at the concept of a pet that has been mistrained and mistreated, it will take some time to undo the bad training and train it and give it the habits. That's number one. Number two, your own data is very important. Get serious about collecting your own analytics, making sure that you're collecting the right data from your website, and that it's being accumulated, stored in something like Google Analytics. It's free, so should be within most people's budgets. And there's a bunch of other solutions similar to it, and maybe have more than one solution. We've been implementing a product called Amplitude on a lot of projects. It has a free tier that should be more than sufficient for most of your clients before they even have to consider upgrading to the paid plan. Redundancy when it comes to data is not a bad word. You want to have more than one way of collecting the data about the same event in multiple systems. It's similar to the reason we have double entry accounting is because that's how you catch your own mistakes. You want to have multiple redundant systems collecting the same data about the same event in different databases, because this way you will catch when something breaks or something stops operating. All software has bugs and problems. And also attribution is not an exact science. Like you look at your analytics data directionally, there's a lot of shrinkage and spoilage happens, like as you deliver data from the web page to analytics. There's privacy browsers like Brave and DuckDuckGo, and Safari has a lot of privacy features, and people are installing privacy plugins in their Chromes like Ghost3. So very often it's just not even technically possible to track a lot of this stuff. But what's important is directionality. So are we doing better today than yesterday? Like, assume that your tracking data, your attribution data is going to be wrong, but it's going to be consistently wrong. It's going to be wrong the same way today as it was yesterday. So if you're looking for an improvement, like don't treat this as an absolute number. Like don't treat it as, it's not a accounting system. It's like a QuickBooks. So directionality is important, and also understand that there's more than one correct answer to your question when you ask something of analytics or attribution system, because we make a lot of assumptions. We make an assumption that because there's a click and then there's a conversion, maybe someone fills out the form on your site or picks up the phone and calls you, we assume that this click caused this conversion. But there may have been a bunch of other events that preceded this click that we don't even know about by looking at data in analytics. Maybe this person bumped into at a local meeting. Maybe it was a referral from someone else. Someone mentioned your name somewhere, and they went and Googled you up, and all of a sudden, like they find you ad, they click on the ad, and you say, "Well, someone found us," but there was some other events preceding that click that analytics is not going to show you, right? So analytics is extremely important,
right?
But don't look at it as the truth. We call it models, right? In physicists say that all models are BS, but some are useful. So we can build different models and assume certain cause-effect relationships between certain events. But there's more than one way to connect those dots, right? There's more than one way to build those cause-effect relationships, like within the realm of events that you're collecting in analytics. So again, you need to focus on collecting the data that's clear. But then when you analyze this data, don't just look at one report and say this is the truth. Different reports answer different questions and serve different objectives. But when you talk about last click attribution, that's usually the click that kind of tipped the balance over, and they decided to reveal the identity to you. They decided to connect with you, but that does not tell you necessarily how they came across your brand, how they came across your company. They may have been, so that we have this first touch attribution that gives you a better view of that. So in analytics, you'll have different models that allow you to compare, last click versus first click versus other models that you can use, the multi-touch attribution models. Anyway, I don't want to get into those weeds. So
I think we're already in the weeds, but that's good. So
we are in the weeds, yeah.
Listen, Alex, you're a very smart man. You've been doing this a long time. So how do you stay up to date on everything? Do you follow certain podcasts, or what do you follow?
I'm in a lot of media buying forums and marketing forums. I am moderating some of them. So there's a never-ending parade of new people entering our profession who come in and have questions. And usually when you try to help someone else solve that problem is when you go and do a little bit of research and you come up with some ahas that you didn't know you knew.
Right. Ain't that the truth?
I know I have a lot of friends in our field of work, other agencies that on paper would appear as competitors. But we meet and we talk and we exchange ideas and knowledge a lot as well.
Well, there's lots of room. And I just did a podcast yesterday with Ben Lund, who also does what you do. And he's got his own agency, Rise Marketing Group, that does same thing. We talked about how many charlatans are out there, though, and you've got to be very careful about who you work with. And so, is there any way to identify early on whether or not you should work with a particular agency? Are there you know what I mean? Is there some signals that you should look out for? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or, is there any kind of warning signs?
Well, the biggest warning sign is someone promising you a concrete outcome, and it's easy to succumb to this kind of desire, because you want clarity. You want someone who's confident in the ability to deliver result. But the counterintuitive element there is that the more someone knows about how the inner workings of the machine, the less confident they are that they're going to give you a specific concrete result. If someone's promising you a specific cost per lead, there's so many variables that don't depend, that I, as a media buyer, do not control.
Sure.
Right? Even if I have a number of clients in your space, maybe other law firms, other medical offices in other cities, each market is unique. Each market is different.
Right.
We have a client.
The competition is different. Everything is different.
Extremely different. So we're working with one client that has 145 and growing locations in 3 countries right now. each city, each market is different.
Right.
Like we can literally compare things within the same account. Like everything's the same, all the variables are the same except the geography, and the auction looks completely different because of the graphics of
before, because the people browsing, if I'm browsing from my desktop and I'm like actually looking for something to do, that's a different experience. I'm looking to buy, right? That's a different experience than, you're right, I'm pumping gas on my mobile phone and I'm just wasting time. And so right. You're right. I mean, that's like, right. and somebody's got to know that stuff.
Yeah. So think about you hiring someone. When you hire an agency, you're hiring someone to enter a lot of auctions and bid on your behalf, which means each market will have other people entering the auction and bidding on the same impression. So predicting the outcome of the auction is very difficult, practically impossible. We can make statistical estimates. We can certainly use keyword planners and performance planners of different kind. We can use spy tools, but these estimates are just that, they're estimates. They're not a guarantee. So right. It's very difficult to guarantee anything other than that you have the right process, that you're going to do the right research, that you're going to follow best practices.
Right.
Right. That you understand how things work and you will make adjustments along the path. Like as you go down this path, you will make adjustments based on the results that you receive. So that's the only thing I could promise as the agency owner, like to our clients.
So Alex, this is tough work, you know. Do you have any, like you were telling me at the beginning, you're in Toronto, you got a place in Mexico. Do you have any like daily rituals that keep you grounded?
I don't have very many rituals. I try to make time for journaling in the morning. I wish I was a little bit more consistent than I am currently. We have a remote team distributed across many time zones. We have a bunch of guys in the US. We have some guys in Europe, in Asia. And for MeasureBit, we have guys in India and my business partner in New Zealand. So we're a global team, and there's always something going on in Slack where we live, and there's always something going on. So the best ritual I have is to block off the time on the calendar and shut off my phone, put it in the airplane mode, and then work on something specific.
And what do you do for fun?
Play music. I like hiking. Like as we travel, we try to go to some nice places. So on the way back from Mexico, we made a few stops in Texas and Tennessee, and did some waterfalling, a little bit of hiking, and fell in love with the Tennessee countryside.
Tennessee's beautiful. Do you drive to Mexico?
It is. Drove with the dog. Wow. And family.
That is fantastic. How long does that take? Wow, that is fantastic. Good for you, man. Well, fun. Alex, it has been a pleasure talking to you, and fascinating. Machine learning, AI, we use AI in terms of building content for websites, organic content for websites. That's how we're introducing it. You're using it for pay-per-click and for building ads and stuff like that. We're using it for building content. And it's been a fantastic cost reduction and savings. So certainly it's not perfect. We still need human editors and all that stuff, but it has saved us a boatload of time. And we've integrated.
Well, in my world, it's not even an option. Like, you still have an option to write the content and enroll the help of machine learning that can creating this content and doing research. We do a lot of it as well. We use AI for head copy and
right.
and landing page copy. And
but it's all about the prompt. As well. It's all about the prompt. It's all about It's all about that. Absolutely. And all about the editing at the end. So still critical. Well, Alex, it's been great. Did you want to say something else?
No, I wouldn't say that prompting is key and is similar to training the algorithm. Except prompting, writing a good prompt happens near instantly. So you write a really good prompt and the algorithm, like, it comes up with the content based on this prompt. It's very similar method to training the algorithm to go and bid on your behalf and understand how much to bid on this auction and that auction, and which audiences to target, and how to combine different bits and pieces of ad copy into an ad that's going to be relevant to this specific user in that specific circumstance.
Very good. And if somebody is listening to this podcast and would like to talk to you about working with you, how would they go about doing that?
Alex at clickmakers.io. So it's not .com, it's .io, and clickmakers plural.
Very good. Well, Alex Makarski, it has been a pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you so much for being on the World of Marketing. Everybody, thank you so much. You guys have yourself a great day from Alex and Tom. Take care.